the correct username and password, so that people like authenticate, then log in that page like that. And like React courses to slideshows, I was involved on that. Coming to my second project, like it is a responsive website template, it is like scratch project. So I was involved in material UI to develop the desktop as well as mobile view. So this is all about me. It's like a quick introduction.
Yeah, I can say that. Okay, so I just want to know that do you have any backend technology experience or you just UI UX developer?
UI X developer. I don't know about a backend developer, so I have design. I have very much knowledge in like UX and UI developer only front end.
Okay, got it. So you are currently from Andhra Pradesh, right?
Yes.
So when you're going to hybrid, then you will be working from the your native place, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good then. Let's move forward with the two process plan. Can you tell me the concept of object-oriented programming?
I know only in JavaScript ES6 features.
That's
I
fine.
know object oriented programming is like we can use classes, inheritance, polymerization, abstraction. So like that. I know that only. It is like a programming language.
Yeah.
So
It's
that's
not like programming, it's a concept that every technology is following. So, do you know can you give me a brief detail about the whatever you said, like encapsulation, polymorphism, abstraction, inheritance?
inheritance.
Yeah. Do you know what
Inheritance
is
is nothing
inheritance?
but single inheritance or inheritance to extend the components like single component to multiple component like that. We can use in React class components like class component type extends, like we can React dot component like that we can use. That is the only one type of inheritance like that. I know that one only.
Polymorphism?
Polymorphism is like many it's like a many forms, and we can use poly.
Okay. And currently, in which advanced state version you are working?
ES6.
So, do you know what is the difference between ES5 and ES6?
ES5, ES6 like concepts is like structure way different. So we can use functional component like function somewhere like that. And here we don't just ES6 component we can use var. Sorry, ES5 we can use var, only var we can declare. And coming to the ES6 like let and const where also it came like in these features they introduced var let const 3 and arrow function spread operator like that. So ES5 function normally we can use functions, and ES5 ES6 we can use double IE like a function immediately invoke immediately function executed like that we can use IIEF. So that's all. In arrow functions also ES6 concept with them, and
Yeah,
ES5 they don't have arrow functions.
yeah, I already covered that briefly.
Okay.
Okay. So, can you tell me what is the React and how it works, and why people tend to use React rather than other languages are available for the front end?
React is very easy because it is working with reusable components like single page application, and it allows like a virtual DOM. Like it's very fast because you can use number of components. We can write reusable components in one component. So that's why
Okay, how the virtual DOM work with the React?
virtual DOM is nothing but copy of real DOM, works with the real in real work time. So for example, we can write the state. That state we can update the content like set state. So when the state has changes, the content is replaced. So that is a one type of. It works like that.
Mhm. Is it lightweight or the heavyweight like Django?
Lightweight, lightweight.
Okay. Okay. So, what is the JSX?
JSS is a JavaScript syntax extension, so we can easily write HTML templates, and JSS is a barrier. So JavaScript JSX we can directly write, so it cannot. JavaScript process can't understand. So we can use Java like a Babel. It converts the Babel transformation transformation like that. So we can use JSX in return, like we can start with objects, we can write JSX like HTML templates like that.
Okay. So, what is the functionality of React class?
React class functionality means like we can use the ES6 class, we can write extend the class component, we can write render method, and we can use return using like JXS like that.
Okay. What is the difference between class component and functional component?
Like structure way is different. In functional component, like we can use lifecycle methods and state like that
Mhm.
in class component. And coming to the functional component, in normal function we don't need to write the like a state and lifecycle methods. So that's why we can use React hooks functional component like use state lifecycle
Okay.
methods.
Okay. So, what is the state and props?
State and props.
And
State
what is the difference between
changes
them?
the yeah like state changes the asynchronization, it occurs changes the asynchronization, and props list we can pass the data one component and another component. State can be hold the data information, so like that. So state is immutable, props are mutable, so props are read only, so that is the main difference.
Okay. React is a unidirectional or a bidirectional?
Unidirectional.
How it works unidirectional? Like, can I update the state from child?
Sorry.
Can I update state from child?
Yeah, yeah. Update meet we can use props. We can
Yeah.
uh, yeah. We can callback method. That method we can in child component. We can use some callback method in button method. So that method we can pass into the parent component using with props. Some brackets we can use that put into that method. We can use anywhere on that parent component. That method.
Okay. So, what is the controlled components?
Control components we can use, for example, in JSS we can write inputs, whatever that fields value is equals to, we can write state value. So that is a control components, like input value is equals to, we can write state value, like username value is equal to username. So whenever that is the state value. So that is the control components normally.
Okay. What is the higher order component?
Higher order components, it will higher order components we can in React we can use the function takes a component and returns the another component, like we can use like a redux connect method. So
So, how it is useful for us, HOC?
how it is useful means, for example, in React Redux we can connect the library using with import the current method, and below we can write map props to state, map dispatch to props. In that component only we can export that current method like one component and some other component we can get that data, like we can access the props and state we can use in this component, so we can export it below. So that is the one main advantage, like advantages
Quickly
of,
visibility, right?
yeah, visibility.
So what is it? Create hyphen and
Create hyphen
react
react
and yeah.
to create the react, like file name, like packages, like npm packages to create the react library, so that's why we can use
Okay. What is the redux?
method to handle the state of an application, so that is the redux.
Okay. Given the redux, you found by
Sorry sir, can't understand.
redux THUNK.
Yeah, redux thing. So I don't know, I'm not using in my projects. Redux thing means a third party library you can use, like async await axios. Like for example, if you want API calls, we can use into the redux thing. So that purpose we can use.
What is pure component?
Pure components, whenever comp- uh, pure components is the like a React components. Whenever the props and state has changes, it cannot be re-rendered. It doesn't
Okay.
re-render.
When to use pure component over component?
Should component update we can use.
Okay. For UI proposal, you are using Bootstrap or Material or anything else?
Material, so material bootstrap also some, like some styling purpose we can use bootstrap, like we can change the button colors, for that purpose we can use bootstrap.
Can you explain me the life cycle methods of React component in details? On
Yes,
each and can be based on description for each.
yeah, sure sir. Life cycle methods are like three methods. So first one is like mounting and updating and unmounting. Coming to that mounting, so in mounting there have number of methods, like five methods are there. So first we can use like some constructor before the before sorry before initialize the constructor we can use, and we can go for like get error props and state, and we can use radar method and component did update mount, component did mount. And coming to the component did operator, there have some methods, like get error props and state and should component updater, either it is true or false render method, like we can use. If it is true we can go to the render, if it is false it can be re-render. And the render method, the component page updater and component did updater. Once like component did update means whenever the state has changes, so it component will be updated every time. So coming to that component did unmount, it is remove that whenever you can put into the component mount, we can use like set timer, we can write, we can clear that component, we can use component will unmount, we can use it, it can be remove the time.
Okay. Do you, what do you understand by the IEFS refs in React?
To refer a DOM element,
Okay. In which cases we can use the ref?
which cases means like if you have
In
number
which
of
scenario?
inputs we can write, so browser don't understand that component which input, like that. So simply we can write which we don't use the value. In that value we can write some ref. That current ref and focus we can write and below. So that purpose we can use. There have multiple inputs was there. Currently I am not using that.
Do you know the modularized code in React? How do you modularize the code?
So
Modularized.
modularized code format.
Yep.
Modularized optimization like.
MODULRIGE. Modularized. How do you modularize code in your React program?
I know debug. Modulizer. For example, if you
Export input properties, formatting them, components separately in different files.
compose separately different files. For example, if you write some component, so we can call it some other components, like we can import it like that. So I know that one. Modularize, seriously, I don't know.
That's why it's just concept, it's not a topic.
Okay, so
What do you know about control and uncontrolled components?
controlled and uncontrolled components. Yeah, control means like whenever you can, if you write some input value is equals to we can like we can put into the state. So when you enter that input button, so it can be changes. So that is the control. Uncontrolled means dynamically create render into the component. So if you can some conditional rendering, so that is the uncontrolled.
How we implement MVC framework in the React?
MNC
MVC model view controller.
model view controller in React. Like viewport to UI layer we can use in React. Model MSC controller. I know viewport. So viewport means like whenever you can writing some in HTML, sorry, in JSS we can write that part we can visible into the browser. So that is when you do some actions. So that is the controller like that.
Okay. Do you know the flux?
No sir, I don't know about that flux.
What is single source of truth?
Single
Single source of truth.
truth. Single
Yeah.
single I don't know. Store, right? Store maybe. It's like
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. It changes store for storage application and state. We already covered the redux or it is left. Yes, it is. Do you know the redux?
Yes sir.
Okay. Can you list out the component of redux?
Like redux means nothing but a method to handle the state of an application. So that is the redux. Like it is a predictable managing state. So we cannot store means all these